Hi, folks. How you doing? You enjoying E3? It's almost over, so lap up the last of it. 2 more games. 1 more VR game. This is the year of VR. I'm Danny Dwyer. Zareen's here. Brian Tate. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great.
Good to have you here. I wonder what video game you're going to talk to us about. I could not possibly tell.
Yeah, there's a little hint right here, but Star Trek Bridge Crew.
Yes, this is a very interesting sort of surprise. We got a lot of eventually we got a lot of surprises at E3, but for a while there we were hearing leaks of all of them.
Right.
With one with such a prestigious brand associated with it, it was really wonderful that we didn't get any leaks out of this one. So congratulations, first of all.
Thank you.
Nice work. Yeah, what's it like been working on this?
It's been amazing. It's a dream come true to work on the Star Trek franchise.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And
who's your favorite captain?
Oh, you had to go there, didn't you?
Yep, straight away.
All right, well, okay. So I grew up, one of my first play sets I got for Christmas was the original series Bridge, which I don't think I was doing it right. I would mash that up with my sister's toys.
Right, yeah.
So hey, Donnie and Marie Osmond would be on the bridge along with Kirk. So Kirk was my first love, right? But then I think I started to gravitate more toward Picard later in life. You know, that's what I was watching in high school and college. But
Janeway and Sisko never got a look in, or
no, I love them too. But you know, I'm a Kirk or Picard guy. I gotta say.
Fair enough. So Bridge Crew, for people who don't know what it is, to me it reminded me, there's a game that I love playing on my phone called Space Team. Oh yeah, where you're working with a bunch of people. And I instantly thought, oh my god, it's that, but you can actually look around. This sounds like a wonderful idea. Is that close enough to where you
that's not a bad way to compare it, because you do get, when you're playing like 4 players, it can get pretty crazy and everybody's yelling at each other like, oh my god, get the shields up, get the shields up. So a little bit like Space Team that way, but it's really you know, you're actually flying the starship. You know, you're not just yelling orders at each other or anything like that. You're doing it. You're actually, you know, working the controls. You've got the helmsman piloting the ship. You've got the tactical officer working the weapons and shields, and the engineer keeping everything running. The captain, the smartest guy in the room, coordinating everybody. It feels like the real deal.
Awesome. And so there's 4 different people playing in co-op, right?
Yeah, it's up to 4 players. Right. So you can play it solo.
Okay.
You can play as the captain giving orders to AI crew members.
Right.
And if you just really want to take the seat, like you like to fire the torpedoes, you can jump on the tactical station and operate the weapons, then go back to the captain's chair. But the
most like control freak captain of all time.
Yes, you can go micromanage.
I would do everything.
Yes,
one-man band.
That's right. That's right. But my favorite way to play is with 4 friends.
Right.
You know, or actually at E3, you know, 3 strangers has been an amazing experience. Just playing with random groups of people, having a blast.
Is there any online component to that multiplayer? Because
absolutely
there is as well. So it's not like you have to drag in 3.
No, you don't have to come to a cramped little booth at E3 and squeeze in there. No, you can play from the comfort of your own home.
So how would that work? Would that match people up, like, who are like on the same, I guess, experience level as you, or like how does that work?
Well, we will have a matchmaking system if you don't have you know, a full set of friends to play with, but you can also, you know, play using friends lists and that sort of thing if you want a more controlled scenario.
It's fascinating because if you're playing with random people, oftentimes there's a sort of oftentimes there's a singular goal, but everyone's having this like one-upsmanship thing where like I'm going to be better than everyone else. But in a scenario like this, you have to work together.
Exactly.
It's not like you can be the best helmsman in the world, and like everyone else just falls apart. So it's going to be a fascinating. Like I wonder if you guys can even like listen in on those to see like strangers from around the world getting onto the same ship and being forced to be nice to each other.
Yeah, just all creepy, listen in on other people's sessions or something. It would be fun.
It's like a weird social experiment.
Yes, absolutely.
So what are you doing? Like, what are they small enclosed levels, like multiple levels? Are they mostly combat? Is there exploration? Like, what are you actually sort of doing in the levels?
Well, there's got to be combat in Star Trek, right? But combat is never the purpose of your mission.
You're right.
You know, Starfleet is not out there to blow people up. But inevitably, you know,
some people
stuff
get blown up.
Some people are going to get blown up. But the idea is that you're given a goal. Like you might have a rescue mission, you might be on an exploration mission. But if you do run into opposition, you as a crew are going to decide what to do about it. Are you going to fight? You're going to try and run them off? You're going to try and kill them? You decide how to deal with that situation.
Does that mean the crew can fight amongst themselves about like which direction they go in?
Well, there's one person driving the ship. So the helmsman drives.
So he has all the power. Well, he or she has all the power, basically.
Everybody has a lot of power. It actually takes the whole group working together because the helmsman has to get you to your objectives.
Right.
The tactical officer is scanning things and locking on the enemy ship and firing torpedoes and stuff. So if you want to fight, the tactical officer's got to join in, right?
Right.
And everybody depends on the engineer as well. He's allocating power and figuring out who needs what resources at any given time and keeping the ship repaired, transporting people if we're on a rescue mission, that kind of thing. Wow. And the captain is, as we say, the smartest guy in the room. The captain has more information about the situation than any of the other players. So the captain is the best one to keep everybody coordinated and to let them know what our priorities should be. Like, here's how we should do this, guys. But it's a social game. Right. You're really on a starship with other people. So people argue about it. They argue about how to deal with it. The captain's like, lower shields, and tactical officer's like, no, we're under fire. This happens a lot.
I love the idea that the captain, he or she is trying to control all these people, but unlike the show, they can't just relieve the engineer.
Right.
I feel like just move
You're
over.
Fired.
Wesley,
it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, they're doing off. It's big time here. Get somebody else on there. So I guess the other aspect of this is a virtual reality game.
Absolutely.
It's really cool that there's all this to see folks like Red Storm, like Ubisoft, sort of getting involved in virtual reality and trying to make these experiences. Is there a non-VR version of this?
No, it's a virtual reality only experience. Right. It's really about being on a starship.
And that's something that doesn't sort of come across when we have these conversations.
Right.
A lot of the time, or when we show B-roll or you guys show trailers or whatever.
Right.
But so is there a sort of a different? Are you turning around to look at people, and are you
yes,
you're talk about that sort of aspect, why virtual reality is sort of a requirement.
The first eye-popping moment when we demo for people is if the captain's like, take a look around. I'm right here behind you, and people are like, oh my gosh, the captain is right there. He can see everything I'm doing, and that's just the first of many eye-popping moments that people have when they're playing the game. But it's just like we're here, talking to each other face to face. When you're playing in a social VR experience, it's like we're actually on the starship together.
Right.
Looking at each other, talking to each other, gesturing. Dance moves seem to be a really popular thing at E3. We see a lot of raising the roof when people are playing.
How do the controls work? Is it DualShock 4 we're talking about, or?
Now, the ultimate way to play the game is with hand tracking controls, with the Vive, or Move with PlayStation VR, or with Oculus Touch. We've been demoing with Oculus Touch here at E3. So so people really get to get into it.
Yeah.
Do this kind of stuff.
That sort of stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
God, that's fast.
But you can also play with a gamepad. We want to make sure that as many people as possible can play the game. You just don't get to do this when you're playing with the gamepad.
That's amazing. I didn't realize that Oculus Touch were doing game. I used it at Gamescom last year, and it was incredible.
Yes.
Oh my God! To have that sort of amount of control over you, individual digits is. Yes. It's tremendous. And so I guess I'm super fascinated by this. I guess another thing that I'm very interested in is the audio in this. When you're talking with people, especially if it's online, is the audio spatial? So you hear the captain over your shoulder, or is it like comms in Call of Duty where you can hear people?
Well, I'm so glad you asked, because most people they immediately just think about the visuals when they think about virtual reality, but sound is just as important. And our audio team has been working so hard and doing such an amazing job on the spatialization of the audio to make sure the sound is really like you're there, and that really helps you communicate with other players. You can really tell, when they've got the sound spatialized just right and the levels are mixed just so, you can really tell who's talking, where it's coming from. And it's not like your conventional party chat where everybody is just talking in your ear. You can really make out individual voices when everybody is screaming. It's an absolutely essential part of the experience. So
and presumably as well, you get to hear the nuanced sort of panic in someone's voice as well.
Oh, absolutely. And I have to say, we've had a great relationship with CBS since beginning work on this, and they've been providing us.
I totally forgot.
Yes.
I'm part of the family.
That's right. Yeah. So CBS hooks us up with all the assets we need for the to produce the look and sound of the game.
Right.
So when we got the actual authentic sounds of a Federation starship, we got them in spatialized audio on the bridge. It was just, this is a moment I'm just going to close my eyes.
That's amazing.
And I'm just going to enjoy the ambiance, because I'm really there.
How much freedom do you have with that kind of stuff? I mean, like Star Trek is an established universe already. Like, do you have to stick very, very closely to all the little details that make it what it is?
Well, I think you probably know that the fans of Star Trek are very, very passionate fans.
Yeah.
I've met so many people at E3, you know, walking around with this shirt and people stopping me. Oh, I love Star Trek. Let me tell you about my love of Star Trek.
Yeah.
So we know, I mean, this is, and we love it too, and this is a brand we've got to get right. You know, we can't mess up. So authenticity is really important to us, just to make sure that we get the look, the sound, the lore, all has to be right. So that's part of that relationship with CBS. Is like if we don't know the answers to something about Star Trek, we go right to the source, and they set us up with whoever we need in order to get the official answer to anything about Star Trek.
Damn, that's awesome. There's probably like a dedicated Star Trek like person,
historian,
who knows everything.
Yeah.
Yes, there is. There is.
Like I guess what another question I have about sort of speaking to that is like, what era are we talking about here?
Okay, the game is set in the alternate timeline that you see in the reboot movie.
Right. Okay.
So that's the most visually spectacular version of Star Trek.
Lots of lens flares.
Yeah, there's lens flares. Yes, it's perfect for VR.
Yeah, good stuff. I have another question about that as well, because it's weird that 2 interviews in a row we bring up Rich Gallup, who used to be the person who used to host stuff at GameSpot, but he's the EP on Star Trek Timelines.
Okay.
I remember having a conversation with him about the like audio vaults that they have.
Yes.
That like you can literally like scrub to a like particular episode.
Right.
Like they can lift out like Worf's voice.
Yes.
Like they have all.
Yes.
What's that been like working?
Oh, the resource is amazing. It's like we were like kids in a candy store,
right?
When the digital assets started coming in, all the sounds, all the the reference footage from sets and everything, down to individual decals on panels. So
right, yeah.
Wow.
And yes, it's amazing the wealth of material available.
It's amazing just having your Elcar's wet dream. Sorry.
Wrong century, actually.
No, oh yeah, you're true.
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
It's the name of my autobiography. Did you go back and play any old Star Trek games? Like, I think about all the great first-person games that we enjoyed back, like, experiencing the bridge. You know what I mean? Like the Voyager games, with Elite Force.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
Did you go back and have a look at those and sort of?
Honestly, I haven't played them in a long time.
Right. Yeah.
The older Star Trek games. A lot of people mention Star Trek Bridge Commander. They're fans
of course,
as a point of comparison. But really, we started fresh with this concept. I mean, Star Trek is the original inspiration. It's not really based on any other game or Star Trek game. We go straight to our Star Trek fantasy and how we want to bring it to life.
Any Easter eggs in the game?
Oh, I can't spoil that.
Presumably, I guess to that point, the engineers and everything, they're ciphers that you're not actually stepping into you're not Kirk, are you?
Oh, this is about your voyages.
Okay, right.
So yes, you create a character, a Starfleet officer, and you go on your own voyage with a new ship, the USS Aegis, first of her class.
Right.
Yes, with some experimental new technology that we will reveal later.
Every time you blow up, does it add like a letter to the name of the ship? You just circle back after 26 or whatever. There you go.
I'll take that under consideration.
Right, yeah. So obviously the people within your bridge are unfamiliar folks, but will you be going into familiar missions? Will there be like people familiar Klingons and Ferengis and things like that?
Oh, there's going to be a lot that's going to be familiar about the setting. There's a new story to be told here. And then there's also procedural missions, so like randomly generated missions. So we want to make sure that there's always like a sense of exploration, that going into the unknown, because that's part of the heart of Star Trek. So you can roll a random mission, and nobody will have played this one before, right?
Oh, wow.
But we'll have more to reveal about the story later in the year.
Okay.
Lovely stuff. Yeah, when are we going to see it released, I guess, Brian?
This fall for Oculus Rift,
soon.
HTC Vive, and PlayStation VR.
Good stuff. Congratulations on the series. I guess, did you ever think, like, when you've been working for Red Storm for a little while,
yes,
yeah?
Yes.
So, and you've been a Star Trek fan separately to that.
Yes.
When the stars aligned, what was that like?
Oh, it was amazing. It was amazing. We started with our social VR technology in our prototype, and we discovered the magic of being in virtual worlds with other people and trying to figure out what would be the ultimate thing we could do with this. And almost the first idea we came up with was Star Trek.
Right.
We want to fly a starship together.
Yeah.
And but we didn't think it would happen, you know. But you know, we took it to CBS. We showed them our technology and pitched them the game idea, and they were instant fans. And in fact, they said basically this was the Star Trek game that they always wanted to see happen.
And then LeVar Burton is basically saying that on the set. What was that like?
Oh, that was amazing. That was amazing. Got to play with LeVar today. It was
Did you really?
Yes.
No
It's
way.
a bit weird him putting a headset on.
Yeah,
like just
a new kind of visor.
Yeah, exactly. the Geordie LaForge of 2016.
That's right.
It's wonderful stuff. Congratulations on the project, and
thank you.
Best of luck with the rest of it, Brian. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you very much.
Talking to us today. We are almost done, folks. Here on the GameSpot stage at E3 2016, the Electronic Triple, almost done for another year. It feels like it's been going on for 48 days. We have a nice little section at the end of today's show about our favorite games of E3, or actually our favorite game of E3. But before that, we had another little surprise this year. We had our Star Trek surprise. We also had a zombie surprise in the face of Days Gone. We're going to get some of the folks who are involved in that on the stage in just a few minutes to talk to us about that. Get your questions in the chat here. We're going to be keeping an eye on that. Back in 2 minutes.
You're watching the GameSpot stage, brought to you by Airheads Bytes.